Alright, let's speedrun this. I really don't want to sit here for an hour. You know the drill. It's just one man on his verge of insanity every season, you know? Nothing new. We're just getting into it. So, when we start off, my usual shtick, I should say. There are three things I look for in all of these shows: characters and character designs. It's pretty understandable. I'll be spending a lot of time with each character. You know, on some level, I should be able to look at them and be relatively interested and be able to be entertained by their character. You know. Next, visuals. Let's face it, we're in the age of 2022. Expecting above average visuals is not like a very tough ask, in my opinion. We've gotten to a point where if you're feeding me some below average stuff, it's just not cutting it. I can understand if you're a new studio and you have a promising IP. It's just that, like, if you don't have that initial hook with your visuals or something that looks at least remotely interesting, you might as well say goodbye to my attention span. Finally, the most important one, entertainment and engagement. If I'm not entertained, come on. That's probably the most important rule for most people. I don't think I'm going out on a limb here and saying that entertainment is the single most important value. Let's go. Shoot. Goal to the Future is the first show we've got up on the chopping block. Studio Magic Bus EMT Squared. Let's take a look at what I had to say about this show. 1 minute drop. Wah wah wah. I'm a failure at life and didn't make the one critical shot in that soccer game. Now my life revolves around this one ridicule forever. Wah wah wah. Next. Musashino. Or Musashino. Studio A-Real. Never heard of them. 1 minute drop. Just one of those 3-minute shows. The girls don't look terrible, but the show's production level is like a slideshow. Thank you, Studio A-Real. Lycoris Recoil. A1 Pictures. Now you already know A1 Pictures. One of my goat studios, of course. Of course. I don't think it's hold on. I wrote a bit for this one. I don't think it's a far cry to say that this is one of the more original shows we've gotten in a while. Cute girls that kill people for being bad isn't necessarily new, but season to season it's something at least mildly different. I wish we got more of a dystopian setting to work with rather than this happy little coffee shop we got going on. Also, what's with the black dude having giant lips and the other characters just have lines for lips? That's gotta be racist, like come on. I mean, the show looks pretty polished from a general standpoint, but a lot of the interest of the show is within the first 45 seconds, and then we get to talking scenes and nobody cares anymore. Thank you, Past Me. Who directed this? Shingo Adachi. What did he do? Sword Art Online, Sword Art Online, Sword Art Online. Yep. Sounds about right. Kamikazu Idol. Phantom of the Idol. Studio Gokumi. I've never heard of this studio. What did they do? They did World's End Harem. They did all these shows that I dropped. Incredible. 1 minute drop. My patience for idol shows is already thin. Making the characters male isn't the biggest morale booster for me personally. Frankly, I can't see women watching this either. But you know, to each their own. Next. Rent-A-Girlfriend Season 2. Ladies and gentlemen, remember how I said a while back, I had a video a while back just defending this show because I felt like it was pretty much the perfect normie show. Like it has literally everything you could possibly want. It covers all the bases. Cute girls, internal romantic conflict. Well, this last girl not so much, but self-contained romantic conflict. Beta main character, of course, the key to every special seasonal show, and you got a sub-average plot, right? You have something that you can work with at the very least. Now, I completed the full episode of this, but I had a lot to say here because as a defender of the previous season, to some extent. What did I give the previous season? Before I jump into this, let's see what I said for the previous season. I gave it a 5, and I said character designs are characters themselves not. I should say good. Character designs are good. Characters themselves are not. Main thing that bothers me is predictability and seriously approached depth. Some of the best moments are just ruined by comically bad interjections. Alright. I had a lot to say about this second season, so, or at least the first episode, because I'm not watching any more of it. It's actual torture. The first 3 minutes is character introductions and summaries, already not a good sign. The next 10 minutes after that is a complete cringe fest of Kazuya speaking like no human to ever exist on the planet Earth as he talks and talks and talks over this ridiculous play. And I quote, "I can't believe she can just become a different person in front of this huge crowd. She's catching the audience's eye with her movements, timing, expressions, and everything!" Exclamation mark, close quote. I'm not going to act like the possibility doesn't exist that someone thinks that about this in a play, but it definitely isn't Kazuya. It's not even a light introduction to tell me what's going to happen this season. It's just terrible writing. If you actually want to see how performances should be done, go watch Rakugo Shinju for once in your life, and you will see that no one wants someone's entire internal monologue blasting in my eardrums if it's not even palatable. The production is inconsistent as hell, and there are moments that are just hyper detailed and others that are just horrible. I think what would really push this show from the beginning is doing the entire show based around Mizuhara. I mean, she's the main appeal anyway. Nobody cares about Kazuya, and he's incapable of progressing the story anyways. Why not just give her the entire show from the get-go? Explore moral dilemmas of being a rentable girlfriend, go into how this image she portrays is actually reflected positively in her work but negatively in her life as a lack of relationships drowns her in some ways, then go into the recovery or persistence of her of achieving her acting career while mentally solving her own personal struggles because of the path she had to take or something. I don't know. Give me $100,000 to write a better story than this and I will. $100,000 is a pretty meager number considering what it costs to produce a show like this, as well as market and do stuff manga-wise. I could be basking in glory right now. Like, listen to some of this dialogue, and I quote, "She was like dazzling, like the star of the show," end quote. And then when he actually talks to her, it's like, open quote, I was so impressed by your acting. Performance? Question mark? End quote. I can understand emotion compromising rationale, but for real, this dude is describing Mizuhara like a Michelangelo. And then when he actually sees her, it's like Poop Angelo. Hilarious joke by me. Like, come on, dog. Are we serious right now? This fool has had my patience long enough, and I don't know, or I don't want to watch a show that's gonna blue ball me like this. Should have made it the Mizuhara show. I don't want it to be the Kazuya screams like a deranged maniac when it's time to speak in normal voices show. Like, can anyone actually watch the last 7 minutes of this episode without being like, what is going on? This dude is screaming in public like a psychopath, and Mizuhara is just accepting it. What an awesome, wholesome Chungus moment. Also, another thing, I cannot deal with every single transitional shot being a close-up. I know they're just trying to flex their lip skills on Mizuhara, but like, why? Stop it. It's not clever, it's not interesting, stop it. The entire episode is cringe, and I will not be defending any of it. I will, however, stand by my thoughts on Season 1. That season was average for sure, but it wasn't a lost cause like this. As you can tell, I'm not very enthusiastic about anything surrounding this show at the moment. That first episode was, as you learned, beyond abysmal. Beyond. You know, TMS Entertainment, didn't they do Redo Healer? Pretty sure they did. Let's check. Let's check real quick. Redo of Healer. Huh. They did Megalobox. I swear, I think they did Redo of Healer. Guess not. I think maybe Hoods did Redo of Healer. Let's see, Teppen. Or actually, let me read the full title so you can get the full picture. Teppen, exclamation mark, 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 exclamation mark. Laughing till you cry. That's a lot of exclamation marks, in my humble opinion, Studio Drive. That's a lot of exclamation marks. 3 minute drop, 3 minutes in, I didn't even see what type of show this was. It was just so mind-numbingly boring, I gave up. Renmei, Kuugun, Koukuu, Mahou, Ongakutai, Luminous Witches, League of Nations, Air Force Aviation Magic Band Luminous Witches by Studio Shaft. Long way from Monogatari, aren't we? 6 minute drop. Yeah, the show is all over the place. I realized that we had 6 main characters and I wanted to give up already. I think production wise, we are looking at some above average stuff here. We got decent sound production, orchestral tracks going on, and even the girls don't look half bad, but we are working with a product that doesn't build up to introducing new characters, and instead we are just bombarded with too much stuff to focus on at once. I wonder what Akiyuki Shimbo's working on. Oh my god, this guy? I haven't seen this guy in forever. Didn't he work on... Damn. I feel like I know this guy from somewhere. Shoji Seiki. I swear, he's on something that I know. I might as well just not do it now, but let's move on. Utawarerumono, Futari no Hakuoro, Mask of Truth, Studio White Fox. Taking a break from the ReZero grind, I see. It's a terrible show. Probably should discontinue it anyway. 1 minute drop. I stopped caring the minute it started. What does that say about the show? Maybe it says more about me, but at least I'm consistent with my impatience most of the time. That is true. Yurei Deco. This was actually a promising show that I had lined up because it's Science Saru, and you know, Science Saru is not the most bland studio out of all of them. You got a pretty good lineup here. You got like Devilman Crybaby, you got Ping Pong, you got basically every single Masaki Yuasa show ever created is with Science Saru. I think he worked with Madhouse for a while on Tatami Galaxy as well, but most of their stuff is incredibly competent. Like you really, usually I should say, usually you can't go wrong. But as you can see, I dropped the show, and we're about to find out why. 12 minute drop. I gave the show a bit more leeway considering it's a Science Saru production whose creator is Masaki Yuasa. It's now take into account the director is not Masaki Yuasa. It's original creator, the story or whatever, is Masaki Yuasa. But by the halfway mark, I didn't see anything that really stood out to me or screamed interest. My patience was already waning by the 5 minute mark. Some of my criticisms are definitely the characters' speaking patterns. They all feel like their lines were recorded separately and not in the same room. The pauses in between interactions makes it seem robotic and somewhat jarring. I also don't even get the concept we're going for here. We're working with some utopian social media-based society that operates off of love. Not that interested. Unfortunate miss from Science Saru, unfortunately. Unfortunate miss. RWBY, Hyousetsu Teikoku, Ice Queendom. Another Shaft show. It's actually probably they're more, they put more work into this production, but it's still not that good. 2 minute drop. You know it's about to be a good show when they open with the expositional monologue. That's how you know they're serious. Who directed this one, actually? Never heard of this guy. There's actually a co-director. Yeah, he just works on a bunch of Shaft shows. Never seen them, though. Oh, we got our first non-drop. Ladies and gentlemen, our first non-drop, and it's from A1 Pictures. Could you believe it? Can you believe your eyes what you're seeing right now? An A1 Pictures show made it past screening. I am beyond ecstatic. Alright, let's see what I wrote. Actually, there's a lot here. I can praise it on not being boring at the very least. Pacing is fine, and we're doing things you want to see in a first episode. You also gotta give props on cute girls. They aren't exactly original, but I could see myself watching this show because we got a semi-decent concept to work with, along with cute girls. Main Main character isn't a turbo virgin, but he's basically Kirito because it's A1 Pictures. They don't have a lot of range. As for things I don't like, definitely scenes with outsider characters are boring as hell. Not a fan of how blunt and yandere the main pink-haired girl is because it just comes off as cringe. Multiple times in the episode, I was feeling just dreadful. Uh, Writing, as per usual with a show like this, isn't going to be amazing, but it gets the basic job done. What we're looking at here, ladies and gentlemen, is a show that will inevitably end up as a 5 or below. But frankly, that is a feat in itself for A1 Pictures. If you don't know anything about my feelings on A1, let me refresh your memory. Out of every single studio in the industry, A1 is the picture with my lowest possible mean score, but it's also the studio with the most shows I've ever watched. Which could mean two things, in my mind. Somewhere deep inside me, I actually like A1 Pictures and I'm harsh on them because they could be so much better, or two, they are a terrible studio and they cannot possibly make anything good. Either way, I'm not going to beat around the bush here. We have a decent first episode to work with. I will try to watch another episode. Which could mean an array of things. It could mean I just don't watch another episode at all. It could mean I do and then just drop it immediately in 2 minutes. Very up in the air for a show like this. I would not bet big on this show. Actually, so I haven't actually finished the first season of Classroom of the Elite. I only watched like the first 3, I'm pretty sure. And I only watched the first, I watched the first 4, and then I dropped it and gave it I don't know why I scored it. I shouldn't have scored it, but apparently my feelings were like a 3. I'll just delete that score because I shouldn't score drop shows. Yeah, I watched 4 of the episodes and here are my thoughts on it. And I only watched this because people had said that it's good, right? And I just decided to watch the new season even though I hadn't finished the first one because I just figured I don't really care that much. Here's what I said about the first season. I guess something to note is that they put a lot of work into these boob shots. I have no clue why, but they are frequent. Not that they add in any way. I think that they are just so random, but they do bother to add like mega jiggle for no reason. I also don't get the whole random quote from history introduction to every episode. Like, really? Are we quoting Adam Smith right now? Wealth of Nations, Invisible Hand? Are we serious with that? Like, I don't get that. The cringe I felt on episode 3's ending was just wow. I cannot believe a real human wrote that last line. Which is the real you? How could you? 1. Have delivered that sentence in the same monotone garbage voice as always. 2. Isn't it obvious which is the real her? Like, goddamn, I lost brain cells. It isn't all a lost cause, though. I do find some scenes have ironic merit. Let's go on to the second season. 4-minute drop. If I was in charge of the intro quotes, I would just make it the dumbest garbage ever and no one would notice because the intro quotes can be Sun Tzu, all wars based, and the episode will basically or barely relate to it or build on it in any way. Like, do people actually find joy in listening to a man even more monotone and lifeless than me? It doesn't make any sense why the show has any popularity to begin with. Thank you, past me. Next. Oh my god. Long title. Tensei Kenja no Isekai Life Daitu no Shokugyou wo ete Sekai Saikyo ni narimashita. My isekai life. I gained a second character class and became the strongest sage in the world. Now, based on that title, how do you think this show turns out? The answer will amaze you. 12-minute drop. I watched a bit longer than usual because I had the thought that maybe, just maybe, this concept could be taken to some interesting capacity, but no. Our main character is a lifeless, overpowered, black-haired loser, and the dialogue starts to strain your attention so hard that it's just boring. Wow, I didn't see that one coming. Ladies and gentlemen, I did not see that one coming. Kinso no Vermeil, Gake Puchi, Majutsushi, Wa Saikyo no Yakusai, To, Mahou Sekai wo, Sukisu Sumu, Vermeil in gold. That's incredible. Staple Entertainment. I have no idea who any of these people are. 4 minute drop, it's crazy how they can put so much work into the background art and put none of the same effort into the characters that look completely out of place. Yeah. How'd you think that one was going to turn out? Overlord 4. Now, I don't think I've ever stated this before. Maybe I have, but I cannot stand Overlord. The first season was maybe the most competent season, and then after that, it's just so bad. How does anyone even watch this stuff? Like I literally I watched all the Overlord seasons when I was like still a pleb, and I just was watching stuff just because I wanted to like watch stuff. Now my attention is more strained because I just see all these patterns, right? And it's harder for me to get a grasp on these more boring shows. And for this show in particular, there is not a lot here. Like Madhouse, they used to never do second seasons because Masao Maruyama was at the helm. Now they do it because money, probably, in my opinion. They're banking off the idea that, hey guys, this is a popular IP. We can make a few dollars to support our struggling company. I don't want to say they're struggling because the production looks fine. It's simply just an issue of really we used to be so auteur. We used to be pushing the boundaries, you know. But no, we're just sitting here, chilling, making Overlord 4, and here are my thoughts. 12-minute drop. The first 12 minutes is just talking. Beyond that, you can see Albedo have 20 orgasms, and then it's just more talking. I didn't have any hope to begin with, and so this is not a loss at all. Wow, didn't see that one coming. Another show that passed screening. Lovely. Isekai Ojisan, Uncle from Another World. Now, let's make something clear. I'm not actually a hater of the isekai genre. You can do a lot of cool stuff with the isekai genre. Like just more recently, um, Mushoku Tensei has been pretty much everyone's pick for the modern day isekai, right? There's not a lot of them that pique a lot of people's interest, but Mushoku Tensei has managed to grasp at least the public attention for a little while, and that says two things. I still have a like for the genre, and two, there is still a popularity behind the genre that is enough to make a lot of different kinds of spin-offs. I mean, we've already gone over this. Like it's most of the isekais that come out are just banking off the idea of the MMORPG or VR technology or whatever mumbo jumbo they spit in the first 10 seconds. Like my mana's low, or you have a skill tree, or every bozo's putting their own twist on it, and this is just another show with another twist. I don't know if it's original or not. I haven't seen any show that's come out like this in a while. Uh, but essentially, the concept is he is isekai'd for like a couple of years or like a long time, and then he's been kept in the hospital, and it's been seen as like a coma in the real world. And then he comes back and he retains all his powers. That's kind of the idea, but it's a lot more mundane. It's a lot more slice of life-esque, There's not a lot to there's not a lot of gratuitous entertainment. But let me just read what I had said after I watched it, right? It feels like an eternity since I last completed an original product in a season. I would not by any means say this is an outstanding or great product, but what I can say is that it offers a degree of competence. There's enough meat on the bones of this show that can carry at least 3 or more episodes of quality storytelling beyond what I got in this first episode. I think by far the most notable element of this show is how sparse and upfront it is about the whole concept. I mean, the show isn't outrageously conceptual, but it's just acceptable circumstances with some deeper nuances that don't need to be explained. I think we also have some pretty good voice acting performances between the two dudes. They offer a nice contrast of personality and play off of each other in at least a few scenes. As for the art, probably a turnoff for some people, but I can get used to it if given enough reason. If given enough reason to. It feels like a vignette or something. Truth to be told, I would cautiously recommend this show. I'm not entirely enthusiastic, but I am at least interested in at least one more episode. So yeah, I don't know what this studio is. Atelier Pont d'Arc. They did the Doki-chan stuff, which I didn't really find too interesting. So, you know, the show actually has a decent backing on Mal for some reason. I have no idea how. It doesn't even look like they have a licensor, so I don't know how people are watching it. Other than, the sites. Warau Arsnotoria Sun? Smile of the Arsnotoria the animation. Leiden Films. Now, if you know anything about Leiden Films, they have let's just say, interesting production choices. Let's just take a look down a little bit of their shows. Most of the recent shows that I've watched from them have had incredibly, let's just say, pretty solid production. I remember this one show that came out a while ago, maybe in the same season that Elena came out. It had like crazy high production value, and they just seem to like pour a lot of effort into it, which is interesting to me, but sometimes it's not in the right places. This is a problem in this show that I immediately noticed. 5 minute drop. The fact that Mother's Basement said this was K-On! At Hogwarts is probably the stupidest thing ever spoken. This show is so bland that comparing it to K-On! Is actually insulting. For inattentive viewers, you might be saying that the production value is higher than your average bozo show, and I counter your argument with one of our first scenes in the show, which is just a corridor blanketed by white space. It's not as an aesthetical choice, it's just lazy. Making white space your choice of background is just dumb. They only care about the girls, which, to be frank, are just yawn worthy. Get out of my face, dog. I swear, some people these days. So, there's quite a few people that are interested in this show, and Mother's Basement spoke on it, and I watched a little bit of it because sometimes I just look at other channels, what they view these shows as, and sometimes it just rubs me the wrong way. To say that this show is K-On! At Hogwarts is just simply just a weird statement to say, because right away it doesn't present you with characters that are imbued with magical power, one. Two, uh, their diversity is something along the lines of annoying to straight up flat, right? They don't have their own, I mean, they're nuanced in certain ways that are just like surface level, I should say. You have your happy-go-lucky childhood friend type character that's perky, whatnot. You have your dull, bland character that speaks in monotone voices and, is sort of like this shy emo type thing. And then you also have your in-between characters. But is it really that satisfactory? No, not by a long shot. You're not getting anything out of this show unless you want to see some, let's just say, good production, but it's just in the wrong places, as I said. Like, there's a scene that is just white space, you know? There's detailed background, and then behind that detailed background is just white, just pure white. I don't see how that's interesting. Or I don't see how that's competent in a lot more ways than not. That's representative of something that's going to happen in the show later on, I'd imagine, too. Okay. Isekai Meikyu de Harem Wo, Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World. So, let's do Passion. I'm pretty sure they make a lot of ecchi type shows. Yeah, Ishisoku reviewers. They made some of these other. Never mind. I haven't looked into a lot of their shows, I guess. I've only seen like 3 of them. 5 minute drop. This dude loves to talk so much that even the action scenes just become dialogue scenes. Don't even bother unless you want to be bombarded with RPG lingo that just fills up airtime in a budget Kirito. God damn, look at that bust. Like, sometimes it's just a bit too absurd. Sometimes it just breaches the limits on what you're able to to handle, I should say. Oh boy, Made in Abyss. If you know anything about me, I love Made in Abyss. The first season, slapper, absolute slapper. 9 out of 10. The movie, or the third movie, I should say. I haven't watched any of the other like recap sort of movies. I've watched the third movie, Dawn of the Deep Soul, which is by far something amazing that has come out in the last few years. Although the final action sequence with Prushka is a bit boring and bland, but that's uh, that's a that's a small gripe for an otherwise great product. So it's back. I've only seen the first episode because I've been watching everything else, and it's been taking a toll on how sane I can be. Can't drive a man insane. So this first episode, see what I had to say. Probably quite a few things I had to say about it. The first 10 minutes of the episode starts off with a bit of a snooze fest. We go from an ambiguous sexual assault plot to posting stupid hypotheticals like what is beauty? A lot of talking, a lot of nonsense for characters we haven't met yet. The dialogue is dramatic enough to make you yawn and forget everything they say. The next scenes are fine. They aren't boring, but they also don't progress us anywhere. They just foreshadow what's to come. I guess that's okay. Around the 16-minute mark, we exit Flashback Land, and the first thing they greet us with is Rico taking a fat poop with poop noises. On my mama, I did start laughing, but that was like the Drake goofy ass sound effects, and then the episode ends. Production looks fine, the movie looked better, entertainment wise, not so good start, but seeing as I love both the first season and the third movie, I'm willing to put in maximum effort and watch another episode. They're gonna have to try a little bit harder with this next episode and lay off the talking. So, yeah. The episode, like, why? Did they really have to adapt the pooping thing? Like she just like the only present day information that we have in this first episode is that Rico's taking a poop. Somebody tell me I'm in a I'm in a real world. I can't. I wait I waited so long for this. And our first introduction to them again is her taking a poop. Tell me I'm in a real reality. I'm sorry. I I I don't know. I don't know what to say. They spent too long adapting Shiro. I can't believe Shiro Hero got cleared for 3 seasons after his first season ran. It's just so incredible. It's just so groundbreaking to me that I actually just cannot believe my eyes. It took us how long to get this? 2017, uh, 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, and then that's 4 years. That's insane. We waited 4 years in our first. If you didn't watch the movie, your first introduction to our characters again was her taking a poop. Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm pretty sure, what's his name? The dude who made Death Stranding, he posted on Twitter, he was like very confused with this first episode because he didn't watch the movie. He was very confused. He made Death Stranding, Metal Gear series. What is his name? I forget. Uh, it's whatever. Mama Haha no Surego ga Moto Kano Data. My stepmom's daughter is my ex. So this is basically domestic Nakanojo, except that it's a lot worse and it doesn't have enough obviously interest to get my attention for at least one episode, so you're better off just watching domestic Nakanojo. 3 minute drop. It's like people want me to hate their shows, I swear. You can't possibly like these characters unless you were waterboarded by the FBI. Aside from their designs, which are just lifeless, they have the most forced, witty banter that doesn't flow or even play off of each other. Like, what's the point? Domestic Girlfriend is better, and that's saying something. Tokyo Mew Mew. New. Now, I'm not familiar with a lot of the Tokyo Mew Mew anime. Uh, I this is like my first introduction, I think, to the Tokyo Mew Mew franchise, and obviously I didn't like it that much, but god damn, I think this show had some pretty good stuff in it. It's just that I'm not interested in this type of show. Voice act or 5 minute drop. Voice actors putting in energy, which I like. I'm just not really down to watch a show like this right now. Sometimes it'd be like that. It looks pretty polished too. Yeah, I remember when watching this, the show has a really nice coat of polish on it. I'd imagine if you were a Tokyo Mew Mew fan, you would be very, very happy with this product. It's just that I'm just not a fan. I would I would assume the correct place to jump in is anywhere, but I could be wrong about that. Maybe you should watch like some of the more coveted works. I'm not sure. I don't know why I didn't watch this one. Is this a continuing? Yeah, this is a continuing. No wonder I didn't watch that. Uh, Kumicho Musume to Sewagakari, Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting. Oh, Lord, this show sucked. 2 minute drop. We go from cringeworthy Yakuza drama, then go to happy OP. Awesome sauce. I mean, come on. It's not even like subtle about it. It's just like I don't even know what to say. I'm just gonna move on because I'd rather not. Chimimo. I completed the full episode for this. Some parts of me, some part of me wants to watch another episode, but I really don't think it's worth it in the end. I think this show is really cute and has a surprising quality to it. The characters, although not the best, are wholesome and speak to a lot of why I like the Kawamoto family in Sangatsu no Lion. Except this family is obviously a lot less developed and thought out. I think if you're looking for a cutesy show with small pickings, this is your best bet. If I was more inclined to believe how far this concept would go, I would watch more, but I really don't believe it's going to go the mile. It was fun though. I do agree. This first episode was indeed a tad bit fun. But not a lot to not a lot to have in a show like this, in my personal opinion. Buchi Gire. Shine on. Bakumatsu Bad Boys. LOL. RAR. XD. LOL. 4 minute drop. The art looks really gorgeous, but it feels like we skipped 500 chapters of the manga from scene 1 to scene 2. It also happens to segue an action scene to a boring talking scene with 6 characters, which are indeed uniquely different, but like, who are these bozos? It's not a question of who are these bozos actually. I think it's more of a question of where are we, dog? We're moving at lightning speed. You know, gotta have some proper pacing, Geno Studio. Gotta have some proper pacing. Not enjoying that when you jump so far. I don't know what's going on. Yofu Kashi no Uta, Call of the Night, another Leiden film show that looks pretty high in production. I must say they put a lot of work into these shows, but they just don't do anything. 8 minute drop. Frankly, this show reads as just a wannabe monogatari in all the wrong ways. For one, the character banter is not nearly as precise or interesting due to our turbo virgin black-haired loser, and the lack of care put into our budget Senju Gahara, which by far lacks the sharp tongue and sadist element. It comes off as borderline yandere. Color palette is all over the place, and we're just throwing random colors around because we saw it on the wheel. Lacks the vision of someone who actually knows how to make a show like this work. If you put Aki Kishimbo on this show, could have done a probably so much better. I mean, we're just if you watch like maybe like the first 5 minutes of this show, I don't beg you to watch it. I'm just telling you, you'll see a lot of just random colors. Just for the sake of putting the color there. There's no thought put into it. There's no deeper meaning behind the colors. It's just there just because they want to give you this neon feeling or this, I guess, it's not technically a cyberpunk state. It takes place in like a pretty grounded reality. They just flood your screen with all these just colors. They look nice, but they just don't do anything. They just do it because they do it. The fact that who is watching this show? Oh Lord, they changed the review system on Mal. I just realized this. Yeah, this is weird. I've never seen that before. I'm not sure if I like this new review style. Lord have mercy on my soul. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our first show regarding black spiky-haired MC, and he stacks no paper and gets no females. This is our first show, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a round. Let's get a round of applause for every show that comes up like this because they're truly a modern miracle, in my opinion. Simply just a divine masterpiece that humanity has gifted us because we're doomed as a species. Sore demo Ayumu wa Yosetkuru. When will Ayumu make his move? Question mark. Lol. 1 minute drop. Enough is enough. That's a plane reference. Snakes on a plane. Lol. I mean, literally. Look at the title of this show. If I drop it in 1 minute, what does that say about the show? I know you're watching this. Somebody out there is watching this, and the person that is watching this is extremely, extremely down bad. Sussy Baka. And he really needs to stack some paper soon. If he's not stacking paper soon, it's going to be dire for him. I'm stacking paper. Is he? No. You're not stacking paper. Turn off the show. Turn off the show. You're not stacking paper. Prima Doll. Biebery Animation Studios. A little bit of a boring show in my opinion. 5 minute drop. So it's like cute girls in the industrial era that have singing powers that render machines useless. It sounds like a cool concept, but in execution, the show already rushed me to believe in the concept without proper character and stake building. Nothing much here for you, in my opinion. Hoshi no Samidare, Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer. Lord have mercy on my soul. 3 minute drop. Whoever mixed the mics on this show needs to be fired. One dude cannot sound 2 times as loud as the other. Like, come on. Really? You're making it to production? You're publishing a finished product like that? Come on. Kuro no Sho Kanshi. Black Summoner. Studio Satellite. Couple good shows from them. Psych. 2 minute drop. I've seen enough isekai shows that start with MMORPG BS to know how this one goes. Try harder next time, I guess. Lord have mercy. Another isekai. Isekai Yakyo Parallel World Pharmacy. LOL. Dio Media. Didn't they do that Citrus show? They did a Domestic Kanojo. I'm pretty sure they did that Citrus show a while back. Huh. What am I remembering? Oh, they did Ahu Girl. That's what I'm remembering them for. Oh, Lord. 9 minute drop. Aside from not really knowing what's going on, at least the show is visually okay. This whole isekai thing they got going on took a bit to get going. I also have a feeling that I don't really care about an isekai concept based around being a pharmacist in another world. Self-explanatory. I'm pretty sure anybody and their grandmother can understand why I dropped that. Extreme Hearts. 7 arcs. 3 minute drop. I can't tell if she's a magical mail deliverer or an aspiring J-pop idol. Either way, there's too much talking, and she looks like a budget Yui Hirasawa. Shine Post. Another idol show. Awesome. 1 minute drop. It's an idol show, not bashing it. There's not a lot in one, and there's not a lot of me that desires one. Ah, Lord. The Devil is a Part-Timer, Season 2, Hataraku Mao-sama, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. I used to really like the first season. I don't know. You know, I can't really tell you why I like the original. For the sake of the original, I ended up watching the whole episode, which was just a snooze fest. It makes me wonder what I even saw in this season 1 to give it a 7. Like, I just don't even know what I liked in the first season. This first episode from this season is just so bad. There's just nothing there for anybody with like you can't even turn your brain off to this. It's just not possible. I don't understand. We're oh my God, we're at the end. Thank God. Saikin Yatota, maid ga Yayashi. The maid I hired recently is mysterious. Silverlink blade. 3 minute drop. We're really going for the maid Shota fantasy in the year of our Lord 2022. Cleanse them of their sins, for they know not of their wrongdoings. I mean, truthfully, if you're going this route, why even bother to blue ball your actual audience? Just make it a hentai and get it over with. Dudes who are watching it are definitely watching it with the hopes of it becoming that, but little do they know it's not going to happen in this show. Ah, why do people watch blue ball shows? I don't really get that. Uh, like you stack no paper. Please start stacking paper. Last show, Futo Tante, Futo PI. 3 minute drop. Why do people like the fake 70 millimeter film cameras BS when it's anime? Like when you are literally not shooting on film, they just add it to be quirky. Aside from that, the show has some decent production, but it hits you with a dramatic action sequence that rushed to the point too fast. And if you're gonna open with an action sequence, at least see it through to some extent. Ladies and gentlemen, that is summer 2022. I am just amazed. I am dumbfounded. Okay, let's wrap this up. I ain't got all day. Oh yeah, new profile background. I got rid of that ugly text and added my awesome idol Kendrick Lamar gaming. Okay, let's see. 3 shows made it past screening this time. That's more than last season, so I guess you can say this season is mildly better. Uh, two seasonals that are original products, and not reoccurring series like Made in Abyss made it past. Very tough feat. I applaud them for it. In terms of what I would recommend for this season, watching not anything in this season is what I'd definitely recommend. But if you were gonna watch something, it would probably have to be Made in Abyss, even though I didn't even like the first step. I'm not even gonna in the description. I'm not even gonna mark it as something I'd recommend to watch because I'm not gonna recommend something that I don't believe in from the first episode. I believe it could go far in the other episodes, but this first episode was so bad. So yeah, I mean, like, what do you want me to tell you, bro? I mean, just before this, I was so excited. I was so amazed because I just watched Old Boy, 2003 Korean movie. Great movie. Great movie. You should watch it actually. Instead of watching any of these shows, you should just watch Old Boy. That's what I'm telling you. Just go watch that. Like why even bother? I don't really understand why you'd bother when Old Boy exists. I mean, you just not on any streaming services, so let's just say you have to acquire it in different means. And I'm not suggesting anything. But Old Boy, pretty damn good movie. I will attest to that. Oh, Lord have mercy on my soul. What I need right now is the Kendrick Lamar reference from Mama. The first 10 lines of Mama, I think I need. Mama off of Tsupimpa Butterfly. Yeah, actually, the first 3 lines I think I need. The first 3 lines. So, yeah.